the buffalo.
Hello. Can you hear me? Yeah, that looks good. Can you hear me?
I can hear you good. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. I just threw my phone and threw it away.
Oh my gosh, just to heck with it.
Can they see the weed up in the wall? Oh. No, it's not there. Okay. Oh, he's recording. Otherwise, I'd show him. I don't think he can. No, he can't see it. Okay, I hope so. My son did a plant project on his own. He was pressing leaves.
Oh yeah, right on.
He pressed that Peggy.
Oh.
Yeah, we're working on growing hemp, so
Oh, nice.
all about being sovereign.
Yes, that's cool. I admire that. Okay, so how it's gonna go down? I'm sure. I don't know if I already told you how it's gonna go down, but it's just pretty simple. Oh, I did. I messaged you. Sorry, my head's like all over the place today.
I understand. I don't know if it's the weather or just one of them days.
I think it's just this whole year.
For sure. Yeah. Oh man, we were so sad about shorts. We were just like crying. We were all just crying.
Yeah, it's horrible.
We've had a tough year with animals. We still never found Cedar's pony. I don't know where he's at.
Dang.
Nobody's on. So I don't know if he got stolen. I'm pretty sure because like the gate wasn't closed right, and like how does a horse just disappear in the middle of nowhere?
Dang.
I don't know. And then
Aliens.
yeah, and then we ended up one of our colts died, so that was another sad day.
That's horrible.
Yep, he was the favorite one too, and it was just sad.
Yeah, it was just, it was nobody's fault, but that time of night, Shorty just stays inside, and since the band was taking showers at Grandpa's, some of them were sitting outside smoking and talking, and just that when that door opened, Shorty just went outside with them.
Yeah, you don't think right next to the house anything would happen.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Dang.
Yeah, I told Melina, I was like, rattlesnakes have been evolving to not rattle or not to have rattles.
That's crazy.
Yeah, they've been killed so much when they did their warning.
Yeah.
So I leave them alone unless they're like in my space. I leave them alone. But yeah, since people kill them just to kill them, the ones without rattles are living, so they're passing that on. So that's pretty scary. Yeah, Augustine's gonna be my technical help, so she might be moving camera and stuff.
Oh, right on. Is she there right now?
Yeah.
Hi.
My mom had the big quarantine, so she got stuck here another 2 weeks.
Dang.
Yeah, because
She just needed to fucking stay home.
yeah, her butt wouldn't stay home. Like, you can't save the world if you're dead.
Yeah. So, every chance you get,
Yeah.
can you kind of show the people watching, like, you know, just like kind of lean in and like show them like the finer details, if possible? Okay. Because I know everybody always has a hard time seeing the details when people are demonstrating, and you know, it's hard. It's hard doing it on Zoom.
I wonder, because I was like sharing my screen, but last time there was a bad lag.
Oh yeah.
Maybe if I watched on Zoom on my phone, and then we just turned that screen on when, like, we do close-ups.
Yeah, and you have to keep muting the microphones too, because it gets like feedback.
But I gotta help her.
Yay.
I wonder if I might try it. I see myself. There we are. Yeah, there's the feedback.
I think you have to turn off the.
There. Is it feedbacking now?
No.
Okay. So we might have to. Oh, it's lagging. Okay, watch.
I mean, that's still better than nothing. Just keep going. Just keep going, and they'll like.
How long is the lag?
Like a second.
Okay.
It's an online platform. There's gonna be a lag. It's just weird for us because we're like seeing. Because Brian right now is seeing our lag because it just takes that second for like
to go through internet space.
Yeah, the Facebook one's behind by like 5 seconds or something.
Okay, so you can edit me out if I say a bad word.
Look at her nails are busted. Okay,
Jesus.
All right.
I could do that.
should I just stop video on this for now?
Yeah, stop video on that, and then maybe we'll switch to it and spotlight it when it's time.
Do we need to do that?
Yeah, I think
On our end? Do we need to do that on our end, or is that you, Brian?
What's that? Say that again.
If we need to switch the spotlight from this camera to the phone camera.
Well, I made it both cameras co-host, so whenever whoever's talking, or whatever camera you're talking to, that's the camera that shows up on the screen.
Okay.
So when you're done talking into the laptop, then you got to mute it so the cell phone it'll switch to the cell phone.
Okay. So.
But if we have to adjust it while it's happening, don't freak out. Just, you know, go with the flow. It happens to everybody.
Just making sure.
Oh, this is Amber.
This one is the phone camera, but.
Okay, just let me know when you're ready and we'll go on.
I almost cut myself.
Yeah, I should go change my shirt.
Yeah, just about ready.
Okay.
Okay. I believe I am ready.
Okay, so like I said, I'll introduce First People's Fund, and then I'll turn it over to you, and you can introduce yourself and then start your demonstration, and then I'll try to get the questions to you as they come in.
Sounds good.
So forgive me for interrupting you. I'll try not to.
Fine.
Okay, let's see. Here we go. Live on Facebook. Just 1 second, it's loading.
Yep.
It's taking a little longer today.
Yeah, yesterday when you guys were live, it was storming so bad here, electricity kept going out.
Oh yeah.
So we had no Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Do your corny joke with your. That's why I was so fake. I'm kidding.
Can everybody hear me? Alex, can you still hear me?
I can still hear you.
Okay. Let's see who's on here. Melina's on. Melina, can you type if you can hear us okay? She said hi.
Hola, ¿cómo está?
Okay.
Hola, ¿cómo está, mi amiga?
Mi amiga.
Okay. All right, let's start. Here we go. Sorry for that, folks. Just a little technical difficulties here. Thank you for joining us tonight for the On the Virtual Road with the Rolling Res Arts. My name is Brian Parker. I'm the program manager of the Rolling Res Arts. For those of you unfamiliar with the program, the Rolling Res Arts is a state-of-the-art mobile classroom, business training center, and mobile bank. The mobile unit is a 32-foot retrofitted shuttle bus that brings art to the people. And our program has been working mainly in the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation communities and neighboring communities as well here in South Dakota. So next, I would like to turn it over to our guest artist for this evening. Go ahead, Alex, take it away.
Well, hello, everybody. I'm Betu Washde. Kaya Hipi. I'm glad you're here. Welcome to my home. Today, we're going to go over how to make a ribbon skirt, and not just a ribbon skirt, but one with pockets. So you know what time it is? Time to sew. That's my little corny joke, my little pin holder. You didn't get it. But so I've been beading and sewing since I was 8 years old, and I think the past 10 years I've kind of really stepped up my game and moved into like more like clothing and fashion shows. So thank you, Brian and Rolling Res Arts and First Peoples Fund for having me here tonight. Well, without any more talking, let's get started here. So here I'm going to show you how to cut into your fabric. So for an average size adult, you're going to need about 2 yards of fabric. And this here is a cotton. It's I usually buy my stuff at quilting shops because they have the really good cotton that's not see-through. The stuff is thicker, it lays nice. What you'd call that in fashion is how it feels in the hand. This one's a little bit heavier and it lays really nice. So it's a cotton, broadcloth works too. So what I like to do when I get it, when it comes, it's folded in half the long way. And so I like to fold it in half. And this here, you'll know what I'm talking about with your fabric, but it's the little tiny frayed edge. That's your selvage edge. So what I like to do is fold it in half on the selvage edge. And then I fold it in half again. So that's your 4 pieces or your halves there, and they'll be symmetrical. And then you iron it out so you don't have any wrinkles underneath. When you cut, it will be straight. And I have this nice ruler, but you don't need it. And another tool that's really valuable is tailor's chalk. So I just took my ruler and just went on a little bit of an angle. So because this isn't folded in fourths, I went 15 inches on this top here. So I marked my 15 inches and then I just gradually go down and I make like a trapezoid shape out of this. That way it has a nice flare on the bottom. and then it fits on the top. You can add your elastic waist, because 15 divided by or multiplied by 4 is 60, and that's plenty room for just about everybody. So I like to fold it in 4 like this, and then take my rotary cutter. This is good. If you don't have one, that's fine. Any sort of scissors will work. But make sure when you have fabric scissors that you just keep them for fabric. Cut paper with them, you'll kill them. So I'm going to go there, and this is called squaring up. So on this edge is not going to be all lined up after I iron it. So I'm just going to go down and square up my edges here. So squared them up. Now they're nice and straight. Okay, now since I made my chalk line, you can see that here. That's the line I'm going to cut. And this is the top of your skirt, and this is the bottom. And it just depends on what you want your length to be. This one's going to be a little bit shorter because I grabbed this fabric out of the remnant bin, which is like the leftover off the end of the bolt. So it was 1.5 yards, so it's not going to be that long. I think it's 26 inches. So save this for later. You can make bags or scrunchies or something cool out of it. So when I unfold it, I have 2 symmetrical pieces. And I only made 3 cuts instead of measuring all the pieces. So while they're still all lined up, this is where I like, and I don't glue my ribbons on or pin them. I make a line with my chalk here. So I go up, let's say 4 inches from the bottom of the skirt, and I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to take my chalk, and I'm just going to line that up. So how's everybody doing out there? It's so hot over here. It's hot and muggy. We got over 1 inch of rain last night, which we needed because it was really getting dry. But now it's really hot and muggy. So I take that, and then you can see that chalk line. I marked it. I'll just flip this over since they're still like, when I iron them, they stay stuck together pretty well until I take them apart. So just make sure I line up the edges, and then I'm going to do that same thing. I'm going to come 4 inches off the bottom. Make my line. All right. So now we have our perfect line that we're going to lay our ribbons against. So to just start, I have some ribbon here, and I'm just going to just do a rough measurement from one side to the other, and then that's how I measure the bottom of my how long a ribbon I need. Kind of lost my train of thought there. I kind of like this green color. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start sewing along this chalk line and just hold my ribbon. That way you don't have to put holes in it with pins, and you don't have to invest all that time and energy into glue. And it just makes it lay really nice, especially with a little bit heavier drapier fabric. It's just going to lay better. So I'm just going to do a straight stitch on the edge, a straight stitch on the edge, and I'll just start this one here to show you how I do that on the chalk edge. Angle of what I'm doing. So, right here, let me see.
I'm just gonna go right along the edge there. So there, you don't need any pins and your ribbon stays nice and even. So moving along, we're gonna start, I started another skirt along the way so it doesn't, you can see the whole process from beginning to end. But I'll usually take the ribbons and then when I'm done sewing, I will, this is just an example, I'm not exactly the word I'm talking to. I'll just sew this, and the stitch I use is this big zigzag stitch. On this sewing machine, I'm using a Singer. It's the number 6, but it's got, I think you can see it better on this side. It's got a bunch of little stitches, but it's just in a zigzag motion. And that I found really holds the ribbon in place and it helps, and it's not, I guess, it just helps the ribbon lay better on the fabric and it doesn't get all bulky. So that's a stitch I use. I'm gonna grab the other skirt. So this is the one I was working on, and you can see how I use an invisible thread on there, so you can't really see the stitches, but it holds pretty good, and I do all of mine on it, and it lasts for washes, and you can iron them, and they stay pretty good. So I'm gonna switch my needles here on my sewing machine because I like to use what's called a Microtex needle, and they're really a fine needle. It's really small. It doesn't leave big holes in your ribbon when you're sewing. So I'll switch that out, and then I'm gonna switch to my invisible thread, and I'm gonna show you, I'll finish here, and I'll show you what it looks like. So I'm just switching my thread here. And I changed my needle out.
All right, sorry about that. We're just trying to get a close-up angle just to show you what it looks like to sew. So this invisible thread's a little bit tricky. It's really fine, and those Microtex needles are so small that they're hard to thread. So that's the only bad part about it. But otherwise, so I've got my invisible thread loaded on my machine, and I'm gonna turn up my tension. This is really important with this invisible thread so you don't get the bobbin part coming up through your work. So I'm gonna tighten it just a little bit. So on this Singer machine, it's to the +1. And I'm gonna take and switch to my big zigzag stitch. And finish this up. So you can, I'll show you here when we're done how it looks when it's right against each other. So see, it's sewn on there. I'm trying to get close. You see, this is before I tack it down, but that zigzag stitch holds it, and it doesn't look like it's invisible. You can't see it. Dusty, you think you can find me that quickly in the rack? So I'm just gonna finish sewing the ribbons on this, and then we'll move to the pocket. How you put pockets onto your skirt, because that was the main thing I found when I was wearing my skirts. Like, I had to carry a purse or a bag all the time, and
without pockets is just really inconvenient. So I found a way to put pockets on that's really efficient, and they work, and they're nice and deep. So you put your phone in there, your money, wallets. I had to rethread my needle because when I pulled that out, it went with it.
Hey, Alex. There was a request if you could move your scissor holder just slightly out of the way so they could see the sewing machine. Yeah, thank you so much.
Okay. You can see it better now? Sorry. I was going for aesthetics, I guess. So just finish up here.
Does anybody else have any questions at this moment? Feel free to add them in the chat box and I'll get them to Alex as she's demonstrating. Thank you.
Since I'm making this one super extra, I'm putting this rickrack on it too. So after I get my move back to my straight stitch, I'm just going to lay it across there, make it look really cute. And then move on to the pockets. There we go. It's all sewn on, no pinning involved. It's pretty painless. I don't like to take pins out and put pins in, so this is why I made it so I don't have to pin everything on. So next thing we're gonna do is do our pockets. So after we get it cut, the ribbon sewn, we're gonna put pockets on. And this is what the pockets look like before you sew them together. So just a little, like, since this is going to be a baby skirt, I made it smaller, but this is, you know, just the size of your hand. You sew them onto the right, you put your right side together, so when you go to sew them on, when you pin them, or I use Wonder Clips, they're going to be, this is the right side of your skirt, you're going to do that, and you're going to sew down here. So just a second, I'm switching everything out again. So I'm going to move back to my universal needle and a regular sewing thread. And it's all about, you know, these little changes make a real difference in the quality and how it holds up, especially if you wear them a lot, and they're better to, you could throw them in the wash, you don't have to worry about them coming apart. So I'm going to reset my tension back to where it was before. On this machine it says auto. Rethread it. And after you thread your machine about 1.5 million times, and it becomes really easy to just switch out these needles and thread. Otherwise, when you're doing this production, I just have 2 machines going, sometimes 3. I'm lazy like that. So this side, so I have my pockets clipped onto the right side. And I like to use Wonder Clips just because I don't like pins. Wonder Clips are so cute and easy. So I'm just going to sew, and this particular dress, I use just a, I think 3/8 of a seam allowance. So I'm just going to sew straight down.
And there, you see it sewn on the right side. And this is where my sewing line is. So right on the edge there, the 3/8 seam. And I'll go to the other side and do that.
Thanks to everybody for tuning in. You're watching Alex demonstrating how to make a ribbon skirt with pockets. Is there anyone who is watching that has questions for her at this moment? If so, please put them in the chat box and I'll get them to her. Thank you.
Okay, so we have both of our pockets sewn on here, like this. Now we're gonna take them and usually I'll press them with my iron, but I'll press them out so they look like ears now. And I'm gonna sew right along the edge of this, and that helps them lay really flat. So it's called top stitching. I'm gonna go ahead and do that here, real close to the edge of the pocket edge. It just helps hold it in. I'll do that to both. So you'll need to cut 4 pockets altogether. So 2 for the front and 2 for the back. Now we have it all nice and top stitched. We're gonna put them together. So right sides together. Lay this one down. And I came, because I'm not gonna do an enclosed elastic band on this, I came down 1.5 inches from the top, and that's where I started. So I'm just gonna line everything up here now. And clip it together. And this is the difference. I'm going to show you here the trick I do, and this will keep stuff from falling out of your pockets once you wear them. How you sew them down. And make sure everything lines up nice and straight. The ribbons have to line up, your pockets have to line up. So that's why I make it a chalk mark, so I know exactly how everything's going to line up. Everything up. And these clips are just so cool. I love them. And then they're in my little tiny bowl. Got that all clipped. And I'm going to sew down the edge. So I'm going to draw a line where I'm going to sew to. Okay. This, the camera adjust maybe. I don't know if you can see that. That light might be too bright. Can you see this little blue chalk line? I don't know if you can. You can, but anyway, I'm gonna sew to here. This is the top of my pocket, and I'm gonna sew to here. And then on the bottom, I'm gonna sew up to here, and this is the bottom of the pocket. So there's like a 2-inch difference, and that's what's gonna keep things from falling out. So I start at the top, and I go down, and then I just turn and go right back up from where I was going. And when you turn, put your needle down, lift your foot, turn your work. And then on this curve, the best way I found to do this is just to hold your work like real tight in front of where you're sewing, and just hold it, and that pulling will pull it right around and make a nice curve in your seam. And it looks really good. Okay. So I'm just gonna eyeball it, and I'm just gonna sew straight up to that mark I made. Get there, turn it. Straight down. Double check, make sure everything's lined up.
Hey, Alex, I apologize if you already said this at the very beginning, but how did you get into sewing and who taught you?
Well, I don't know. I've always liked to do things with my hands, so I just started, I don't know, I guess I wanted to sew one day, so my mom bought a sewing machine, and I taught myself how to do that. That was way back before the internet, so I was reading books, and like my grandma, she had a sewing machine, so she taught me how to run it. And it was really just a lot of trial and error back then. Books, reading the patterns. My Auntie Helene, she did a lot of her own sewing, so that kept me inspired to keep going. And then it was just something I've always stuck with. But yeah, now I focus more on like the finer details, the couture methods. I like to do that kind of stuff. But yeah, so it's kind of tough when I was a kid. I wasn't like everybody else. I'd rather sit home and sew than, I guess, go to my friend's house. I'm gonna keep going here. Now we have that. I'll show you what it looks like before we move on to the other side. Oh, let's do the other side. So I'm just going to do the same thing here, line the edges up. And I learned how to do this part off of a pattern I bought with pockets. So I just take this, take that method and apply it to my skirts here. Again, turn it all the way around. Yeah, but everybody in my family, they did quilts and stuff. Nobody was really sewing clothes, so. I used to make clothes for my friends, and like, I remember when Clueless came out and everybody wanted the baby doll t-shirts. I used to make those for my friends, so we didn't have to, like, everybody wanted them, but they were kind of expensive at the time when we were kids, so I was making baby doll t-shirts. My friend's mom gave me a pair of like old nylon pants, and I made 2 of our little t-shirts out of it.
Just gonna do a quick time check here. It's 5:31.
Okay.
Just letting you know.
Got like 20 more minutes? You all right?
Yeah.
Okay. Approximately. I was so excited when Clueless came on Netflix.
So, in all of your time designing clothes and sewing, where has this taken you? Has it taken? I mean, besides, what you're doing now as like a brand and a designer, but like places in the world. Are there places that your work's taken you that you never thought?
Well, I did a fashion show, the Native Fashion in the City. I never thought I was ever going to like do that. I was just content with kind of sewing, and I was talking to my friend about it, and she was like, "Go ahead and try it out. You make clothes." I've made things for. I made a quilt for President Obama. I made a shawl for Nancy Pelosi. And then just I think, I don't know, as far as going places, I ranch, so I don't go too many places, but just the bonding I have, like with I'm I guess, an old soul. So being able to bond with the older people, like my grandma who lives down in Albuquerque, we were planning on me going down there and spending time learning from her, like real seamstress methods that she learned from her mom. And then COVID happened, so now we're stuck here, and I don't get to go anywhere anymore. But I think the biggest thing was the fashion shows and actually seeing my stuff out there and people wearing them. It was in a show. That was the most, I guess, surprising. I didn't think I could ever get that far. So once we have the sides all done, here's our side seam. And then also too, when you're working with these kind of fabrics, pay attention, because I almost cut this all up and I didn't pay attention to the fabric. So it would have been totally misaligned, but it comes together pretty nice. And then since little baby hand, I can't fit my whole hand in there, but here's the pocket. And if you do that top stitch, it lays pretty flat. You can't even see that there's a pocket there. But it lays pretty flat. Like all my stuff has pockets, and that's my new obsession. So now we're going to, well, this is a part where you would hem it, but I don't think we have enough time. Usually when I hem it, I have a serger. I'll serge the edges, but if you're just at home, you can either put bias tape around it, the hem, or fold it over twice, like at 1/4 of an inch each time. And then you sew it like that, and it creates a nice hem. Just make sure your side seams line up, and it looks really nice and professional. But I'm gonna do this one with an elastic waistband, and it's glittery, so it kind of matches the, and this shows, so that's why I wanted to put a glittery one on there. So I usually do it in 4s. I divide it up into 4s, so here's the, fold it in half. And here's the back. So on the back, I just took a piece of the fabric and I zigzag stitched both sides onto that. And then I just use a pinking shears to keep it from fraying, and that'll keep it held together pretty good. And it'll lay nice and flat. So after I've divided into 4s, I'll pin it to my skirt. And this is the part I like to use pins because they hold better. So I've got all my pins marking the 4/4 of the elastic. And then I'll just match them up. So this is my back. And then since this is a little baby one, it's not, it's kind of smaller, but this will stretch out to like a 34-inch waist. I think I cut it, it's 20 inches. So I'm gonna pin this, match the side seams to the half that I pinned. And I usually do a serger for this, but I'll do this on the machine just to show you this is a simple way, but it looks good too. So I've got, now I'm going to find the center of my skirt. And that's why I like to iron it in half too, because there'll be a faint line in the middle that I can just line it up to. Keep it all pinned. And I only have to pin in these 4 spots. I don't have to worry about everything like pinning everywhere else. Real simple, real easy. Once you get it, do it a few times, then you'll be like, how come I never did this all the time? Just when I iron too well, the center has come out. There it is. So match it all up. Make sure you don't have any twists. Nothing more devastating than having a twist in your elastic when you get to the end. So since I know this is my back seam, I'm going to start there and I'm going to move to zigzag stitch. I wonder if we should switch it over. So my zigzag stitch, I'm going to do a few for a lock to lock it. So because this is going to be, and then I'm going to make sure my needle is positioned down. So when I stop, it's going to be down. And I just hold it where I pinned it to the side seam. And I'm just going to pull and sew. Pull this elastic as I sew with that zigzag stitch. So, and I'm going to pull the back too. So it's just stretching it out. So pull the elastic, not the fabric. Lay it against the fabric. And pull. The only tricky part is making sure your fabric doesn't run away from you underneath. And just sew on the edge of the elastic. You don't have to worry about going way over. Pin up. And that's the first quarter done. Keep moving on. Make sure my fabric is all lined up and I'm not sewing anything else underneath it. Keep checking and sewing. Okay. Are there any questions out there or just people intently tuned on what's happening?
Everybody's focused in on you. No questions yet. Yeah, if anybody has any questions for Alex, please put them in the chat box and I'll get them to her right away. Thank you for tuning in.
Yeah, so the best part about sewing, I think, is looking at the fabrics and learning about the fabrics and how they lay and how they act when they're draped. One of the best things I did was buy this mannequin here. We call her Auntie because she helps us. So a method of sewing in fashion is called draping, and working with fabrics and other things, you learn a lot about that. And we're into our last quarter. Seems like it takes a while, but once you do this, it'll get faster. So if you're sewing and your elastic and you kind of have too much fabric for elastic, go ahead and pleat it. And that is just the little fold inside your fabric here. And it'll look good. The fullness will still come out, and you'll have enough elastic to go around. Okay, we're down to the last little bit. Drop that stitch. And fold it out, and there we have it. It's all in there. And can you see where I'm talking about the pleats? Like right here. There's a couple back here, like right there. But it just adds to the fullness of the skirt. And it's pretty cute. This one's really cute. And then I usually sew down the sides and then hem. That's my last step, but yeah, so that's our finished product right there. And as simple as easy. This stuff, the elastic, the shiny stuff, I find this at Joann's. I think it's 2 inches. Yeah, it's 2 inches wide and it's soft and it makes it really easy. You don't have to do a casing. But if I do a casing, I do the same method. I just move the elastic to the inside and then I sew and then I'll sew it over again. Instead of making the casing and threading the elastic, this is the easiest way I found to do it, and it holds a lot better and your elastic won't roll. So I guess I'm pretty much done. I could talk a little bit about I guess what else I do.
Yeah, can you talk a little bit about that piece behind you that Auntie is wearing?
Auntie, so this is a dress. This is part of what I was gonna do for my summer collection before all the fashion shows got canceled. So yeah, it's here. I actually what's that? Bring it forward. Yeah, so it's a longer dress and she's got pockets. See it on my Instagram. I had to do some modeling to send it in. I think we're trying to have a virtual fashion show. But yeah, I get some inspiration and sometimes I use, I guess, this pattern. I found this fabric, it was on sale, so I got a lot of it, and that's the thing, sometimes it's hard to do a lot of this because the fabric's so expensive. So I was able to find this on sale and buy enough of it. I was able to do a full dress. There's a lot of women I met at the last fashion show. One woman used the tablecloth that she had for her son's graduation party, and she made a whole outfit out of it. And I was like, I like that. That's pretty good. So I was like, most of my stuff is what I had, what my grandma gave me. And I was able to put together 6 looks in Denver. And then I did, last summer at Native Pop, I did 7 looks. And I got into sewing swimsuits too. So that's another fun thing I like to do. Yeah, once you learn the basics of the terminology, how to run your machine, you can pretty much do anything and everything. With the internet, you could even buy and download patterns online. I like to buy my swimsuit patterns online. I've gone into, I make sports bras because they're so expensive. So I make those for, I guess, my whoever. Yeah, but all the basics here, the straight stitching, the zigzags, working with elastics, that's all you need to know when you're doing all that specialty sewing. there anything else? Any questions? I'm online. I'm on Instagram at Ampo Yokbiwi. That's my page I keep for sewing. We're working on a web page, so that hopefully that will be up shortly. I ranch full time here with my husband, so this is kind of, I like to do this as my other job as far as ranching. And yeah, I think that's about it. I hope everybody enjoyed this. You know, we're probably ending right on the mark, but I had a great time. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much, Alex. We really appreciate you and your time. And we got about, actually, we have about 12 minutes left until the performing artist joins us.
Oh, okay. I thought we were.
So, yeah, let's see here. What has been, I think we all can relate right now since we're all kind of experiencing similar challenges, but what has been really challenging for you right now during this time as an artist?
I think that cancellation, the cancellations of my shows have been tough because this year I was really going to go all out. I saved up and I had so much fabric and I had so many ideas. And when they got canceled, it just killed momentum for a long time. And it was tough to try to get back in it. But I've been slowly working back and building up inventory again, doing some online sales, but yeah, just keeping motivated. And I find right now with everybody home all the time, I'm busier than I ever have been. So it's like I don't have a lot of time to sit down and do my art and to sew, and that's been really challenging for me. And also not getting to go anywhere to buy the materials, and I don't know, it's really hard when you buy fabric to buy online, because when you buy online they cut it for you, so it's really hard to return it. So if you can't feel it, see it, the real colors, then it's kind of tough. I've been lucky so far with what I've ordered online, but I'm really hesitant to make the big purchases. I wanted to travel to Denver, be able to buy the good fabrics, because Denver is like a textile capital, one of them. So it's there's a lot of good places down there to buy some high quality fabrics and some like apparel fabric stuff that I would use in fashion shows or really creating my line. And that's what I was focusing on, is stepping up production, and then creating more of a movement into sustainability and slow fashion, rather than, people say, well, I could buy a $3 shirt at Walmart, or I could buy pants at Walmart. But the implication of that is, fashion and clothing is like the #2 polluter in the world, with the waste, with what it takes to manufacture all these materials. So I really wanted to move into how we used to be when we make our own clothes. I was working on patterns, simple patterns, to start more of a line, like a production line that I could do myself, and then hopefully bring people in to do cutting and sewing of these pieces to create a little bit more of economy. But it just like everything stopped. And yeah, and the money stopped and everything. But I did get to, and it was kind of sad, but I did get to do a collaboration with Wade Patton, and he sent me some images of his beadwork, and I got fabric printed of it. And that one at the Red Cloud Art Show, I wasn't even going to enter that because I was all bummed. I was like, every year I send something really pretty, and I don't get anything. And just last minute, I decided to do it, and we ended up winning that category, and I'm so happy. But so thankful that we have this ability to collaborate and do these things, because this fabric here is pretty, but how many other people have it? Because you can buy it at the store. I like to be able to try to create, and I know working with you, Brian, I have these ideas on some of your paintings and getting them printed on fabric and doing some of that. And my sister and I have been playing with Adobe Illustrator to create more patterns, and it's like, it's limitless. It's just coming up with the money to get it all done. So that was another thing we were going to do, is create unique fabrics out of our friends' art, our art, and get them all printed. I know Gusty here, she's bringing some of the stuff that I did. So this is from a picture of Wade's beadwork, his beaded cuffs, and this is a swimsuit top. But we got this printed in the swimsuit material, so it's Lycra, and it stretches really nice and it fits really good. So this is a swimsuit that I did the other day for my sister, because we might go swimming sometime. But I'm really sad I didn't get a chance to show this, because it ended up being a really cool print. I know we had to mess with it a little bit to get it to flow right on the fabric. And that was another thing I learned about getting stuff printed, especially on fabric. Like, is it even going to look good? Because when you upload it into the programs, sometimes it goes really bad. So we worked really hard and got that all done. And we got it back in time, and then pandemic hit. So we weren't able to do that, but I was happy that I was able to put that piece in the Red Cloud Art Show. And then here's an example of, so this was with an artist, Marlena Miles, and this is her print, and this is the fabric I ordered off of it, and this is just a sports bra that I made with it. And it's simple, but it looks really cool. It'd be a swimsuit top too, because this fabric is the swimsuit fabric. We have these examples of what we can do when, you know, the collaboration to create unique pieces, more than beyond just ribbon skirts, and more into usable apparel. But yeah, just you know, when you have kids, especially when all this hit, it was like, gosh, how can we afford to buy clothes anymore? So we've just been making, and hopefully this moves into the future, that people really take note of where their clothes come from, and put it into more of like buying or having your clothes made.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. Can you share your Instagram again?
Okay, it's Ampoyokpiwi. Gusty will put it in the chat. So we'll put that in the chat, and then everybody can click on it. And it's my Lakota name. It's Happy at Dawn Woman. My mom said that name doesn't even fit you, because you don't even wake up in time ever. I know I'm not a morning person, but every day when I wake up, I'm in a pretty good mood. You know, you get people that are grumpy, and I just noticed I'm never really grumpy, even though when I wake up early and I don't want to. I always have a good mood about it. So like it ended up working out.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We really appreciate your time and sharing of your expertise, your beautiful work, and congratulations on your win at Red Cloud Art Show this year. Yeah, do you have any closing thoughts or closing words for us?
I just want to say thank you. This is all pretty new to us, this whole having to stay home and do things online. But I want to thank First Peoples Fund and Brian for reaching out. I'm getting pretty good at doing these. I've done a couple so far, but I think it's a really good way for us to get together and be able to see other people, even though it's online, have a good visit and learn something new. I know I've tuned in a few times and learned some things that I didn't know and upped my game. And I just want to say thank you all for taking the time out and joining me in my house.
Brian, you're on mute.
Can everybody hear me now?
Yes.
Good. Okay. Sorry about that. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, people out there watching, now I'm gonna hand it over to our performing artist for this evening, and just want to let everyone know that just 1 second here. Sorry about that. I'm gonna read this. Okay, sorry, Alexa. Alexa, I want to introduce everyone to Elexa Dawson. She is a citizen of the Potawatomi Nation out of Emporia, Kansas, and I will let her talk a little bit more about herself before she starts her performance. So thank you for joining us, Alexa.
Thank you. Bonjour, Amon Dajnakas, Potawatomi Anishinaabe Kwendao, Shishibeni and Devon Douglas, Oklahoma and Dospia, Mina Kansas and Shikode and Data, Jigweg Mina Shike and Dodemic. And hello, my name is Elexa. I am coming to you from rural Kansas today. I'm from Oklahoma, from the Citizen Potawatomi Nation, in what we call Shawnee, Oklahoma. I grew up there and came here about 14 years ago to the beautiful Flint Hills on the Tallgrass Prairie here in Kaw and Osage ancestral territory. It's a really beautiful place, and we have lots of distance out here if anyone is needing some wide open spaces or feeling cooped up. We have lots and lots and lots of open, wide spaces. I feel very lucky to be here in this time. I don't know what I would be doing with my daughter if I was in an apartment right now. So very lucky to be here in the country. Because I'm in the country, I hope I don't lag too much, but you'll have to forgive me and my technology problems if there's too much of that. But I am a 2019 First Peoples Fund Artist and Business Leadership Fellow. And so I want to start with, offering my expression of deep gratitude to First Peoples Fund, to for the experiences that I've been able to have because of First Peoples Fund, and the friendships and relationships and the new family that I feel that I have from our little crew. When we got to meet in February, some of those people that I met then are still very good friends. And so I'm very grateful for First Peoples Fund, not only for the fellowship and the financial assistance, but for the experiences. Because of their support, I was able to produce my album. It's called Music is Medicine, and it was released through Lost Cowgirl Records in December, and it's got 7 songs. 7 is sort of the number around it. I was thinking about songs to put on the album for my first solo album, and I wanted them to reflect what I was going through at the time, and that was that I was trying to situate myself as a good descendant and a good ancestor, and to be here in that middle place and to live in a good way and walk in a good way. And then also our Anishinaabe prophecies talk about the 7th fire and about how the people in that time will retrace the steps of the ancestors and gather those things that were left along the path. And so many of my relatives and I believe that we are in that time of that 7th fire where we are going back along. And so I did some research into my family trees, and then I also just did a lot of connecting with that idea of being a good descendant and the ideas of being in good relationship with all humans and non-humans and the earth and the plant nations. And so you'll see a lot of that in the artwork that's on the album and in the songs themselves. And I will just go ahead and kick it off here with one of the songs from the album. This one is called High Place. I wasn't going to do this one, but I'm switching it right at the very last minute because I want to do something a little bit fun. I've had kind of a low energy day today, so maybe this will cheer me up a little bit. And I hope that you like it. Girl, I'm gonna tell you what nobody told me. Gotta live for yourself, wanna be free. This world is our home, and we got work to do. You are another me, and I am another you. And there's many roads, oh, many roads to the high place. And each one brings a theme that the rest can't live without. And each one walks a road that only they know all about. There's many roads, oh, many roads to the high place. You got to tend your fields, you got to carry the water, gotta make a place for our sons and our daughters. Do what you do and take up your space, 'cause there's many roads to the high place. And I have all the faith that you know who you are. Looking for the answers, well now is how you start. And there's many roads, oh, many roads to the high place. I am not just me, and you are not just you, but we are something bigger, and together we get through. And there's many roads, oh, many roads to the high place. You got to tend your fields, you got to carry the water, gotta make a place for our sons and our daughters. Do what you do and take up your space, 'cause there's many roads to the high place. Yeah, you got to tend your fields, and you got to carry the water, gotta make a place for our sons and our daughters. You're on a journey, so just walk your own pace, 'cause there's many roads to the high place. Oh, many roads to the high place. Oh, many roads to the high place. Thank you so much. That one's called High Place. It was on the Indigenous Music Countdown for I don't know how many weeks. It was on there a lot of weeks, and it went all the way to number 6 on the Indigenous Music Countdown. So very proud of that one. And yeah, it did put me in a better mood. So I'm glad I did that one. There are some pretty heavy emotional songs on this album, just because of, you know, what I was thinking about and where I was at that time. And this time is very different, and I'm writing different songs now, and just trying to kind of decide where to go next is very difficult, you know, not being able to tour or to you know, safely have any of the events that I'm used to having. I was listening to Alexandra talking and really, you know, empathizing and feeling that same thing about, you know, even though we're shut down or whatever as women and mothers, we're like busier than ever now, and it just seems like everything is like all our work came home, and it's been difficult to be creative in this space, but just, you know, trying to let it come naturally and not force anything is important to me. So so yeah, I have been writing a few new songs, and I think I'll play one for you if I can kind of pick it up, or I might just have to skip to another one until I look at my notes. But yeah, I'll do another one first, and if we have time, I might do that one. How's that? This one is called "Glad We Came," and I think it's you know, just a song about all the people in my life and being grateful for them, and grateful for being on this planet at the same time, you know. I don't know how we got here, but I'm so glad we came. Use our days to do the good work. In the night we love and play. We may not be family, but we're kindred just the same. I don't know how we got here, but I'm so glad we came. You're the friend of a lifetime. I will walk the path with you. And if dark days come upon us, hold your hand is what I'll do. We may not be family, but we're kindred just the same. I don't know how we got here, but I'm so glad we came. Of all the souls and all the lifetimes, how did this come to be? I'm so glad I didn't miss you. They just brought you to me. We may not be family, but we're kindred just the same. I don't know how we got here, but I'm so glad we came. Of all the souls in all the lifetimes, so glad we came. Thank you. It was called "Glad We Came." That one's on the album. As I was thinking about doing a new song for you, I was feeling a little panicked, so I'm not going to do that to myself today. I'll have to look forward to it another time. I'll just do another one if there's time for another song. Okay, I'll do another one from the album. It's called "I See Me." I actually wrote this song on the airplane on the way home from Phoenix from the First People's Fund convention, so this is more appropriate. friend is drunk. He said to himself, it was hard when our father took the bottle on the shelf. He reminds me of a man I saw get that same look. The loss of something that somebody took. And I see me. I see me. My friend is a man with love in his eyes. Behind that full sorrowful person. And he reminds me of a place where I think I belong, like a brother who knows all the words to the song. And I see me, I see me, I see me, I see me. And I'm not afraid of their tears, and I am embracing mine too. The waters that wash away wounds, this is our healing. This is my healing. I knew her not well when I first heard her cry. The brother she loved walked right up to the sky. The wail of a woman's unmistakable grief, desperate pleading that bring no relief. And I see me, I see me, I see me, I see me. And I'm not afraid of their tears, and I am embracing mine too. The waters that wash away wounds, this is our healing. This is our healing. Yes, this is healing. Thanks very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate you stopping by.
Yeah.
Can you share with everybody again where to find your music and your social media?
Yes, my name is Elexa Dawson, and my website is alexadawson.com. That's Elexa with an E, not an A, not like the computer machine. I'm a real person with an E. That's my album. You can find it on iTunes, Spotify, anywhere. Or if you'd like a physical copy, I did get these really nice Eco Pack CDs and this restillable little glove. It's kind of like opening up a record. And they are available on my website, alexadawson.com, in the store. I think there's some ball caps still available on that website as well. And yeah, just send me a message if you heard today and you'd like to just even shoot me a little message and say hello on my Facebook, Elexa Dawson, and then also my Instagram is the same.
Thank you so much again. We really appreciate your time and
Thank you for
sharing
having
your
me.
sharing your talent. It's beautiful songs. Thank you. That really helped me too to get through the rest of today, because I too was feeling a little down. So yeah, that was awesome. Perfect way to end the evening too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
You too.
Thank you. Well, thanks everybody for stopping by. That was our guest performer, Elexa Dawson, and our demonstrating artist for this evening was Alexandra Romero-Frederick. Really appreciate both of them from stopping by and sharing their gifts with us. Please check back with First Peoples Fund's Facebook page for upcoming events, Native Artist Professional Development Training, and other good-to-know resources. Speaking of other good-to-know resources, our fellowship applications are now open and will close on August 31st. So please go to check out the First Peoples Fund website, firstpeoplesfund.org, and find out more about our fellowship programs and more details about those applications. I encourage everyone to apply, all the artists to apply. It's free to apply, and it would be so great to have more artists out there in the First Peoples Fund family. I also want to say, check out First Peoples Fund on Twitter and Instagram. It's First Peoples Fund, and that's with the number 1, First Peoples Fund. And you can also visit us, like I said, on www.firstpeoplesfund.org to find out more about our programs, resources, and upcoming events. Again, thanks to all who tuned in. I wish you all a great weekend, and please take care of one another out there. Good night.